Hello, great for you to be here. Great for me to be here. For those of you who are just watching first time, this is Giant TV. I go live every Tuesday, 9 a.m. California time. The whole purpose is to teach you, offer value, to help you grow and nurture your own business. And I'm just insane about having my thumb on the pulse of tools, technology, strategies that will help all of us grow. I'm building out my own businesses, so very passionate about this stuff. And uh, as I always mention, if you ever have any questions on anything, message me. Happy to get on a call with you, see what's working for your own business, what's not working, tell you what what I use and the foundational tools that have to be in place for every business as you're building. Really excited about this episode today. This is going to be all about streaming Zoom, connecting it with LinkedIn events. I'm going to talk about LinkedIn Live and third-party apps that you need to make it happen. It gets technical, but this is I'll explain it and it'll make sense to you. Really excited to have you here. So let's jump in. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be talking about today. The process is setting up your LinkedIn event, how to set up Restream, which is the third-party streaming app that you need to have in order to stream to LinkedIn, setting up Zoom, which is pretty technical. Once you figure this out, then it kind of makes sense. You'll be able to do it, but the first few times, got to make sure you do that right, and then how to market the event. And I want to say too, as I jump into this, the reason you want to make this happen is this is all centered around your show. Create a show, do it monthly, do it every 2 months, brand your show. And this is a way to build authority and engage with your audience. We're all looking for ways to stand out, show up, make some noise, be the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. Doing these online virtual events are a great way to do that. And everybody's online today, and LinkedIn has a massive, massive focus, as do all the platforms, on video, on online events, and certainly LinkedIn Live and LinkedIn events. LinkedIn Live and LinkedIn events, we all have it. They're free tools if you haven't used them before, and LinkedIn is constantly upgrading these tools. LinkedIn Live used to be you had to apply for it, and now they're rolling it out to everybody. And the way you can see if you have it is if you go to create an event on LinkedIn, and one of the choices is to stream a live event, then you have LinkedIn Live. And you need to have a third party streaming app in order to make the LinkedIn Lives happen. And I love Restream. It's a great third party app. And there's free versions and you can upgrade from there. Not too expensive, but you've got to have that. They're a LinkedIn partner. So Restream is what I'm going to be showing you here today. And you've got to fit all these pieces together when you're doing these shows. Is you got to line them up, but get your show going. And if you want to dive deeper on what that show is about, how to do it, how to get content for it, how to market it, get on a call with me. Let me know, and I'll show you. All right, so I'm going to start sharing my screen here. I want to first of all go to the LinkedIn event. So let me share my LinkedIn screen, and then I'll show you exactly how to do this. So give me a second here. And boom. Okay, so here's my LinkedIn uh, site here. So now what you want to do is to get to events, as you look in at the screen on the left-hand side, we've all got that side window pane. You scroll down and you've got groups on there, and you'll get to events over here. Okay, and this is where you want to click on the plus sign, and this is where you're going to create a new event. So maybe you've been invited to events, you're attending events, maybe you put on an event yourself. This is where you do it. And I want to just comment here because it's important. All the events you're attending, everything shows up here, but this is where you create an event, and you can customize it with images and obviously the summary of the event. And so there's a bit of customization on here, but you can see here that if you're going to be creating the event on LinkedIn, then you can choose the organizer. So you can do it from a company page or some other page you manage. I always do it from my personal page because I want to lead with myself, my personal page. It just, it's just a better way to do it in most cases because people identify with another human being. They want to do business with a person. Obviously there's great companies behind us, but I often recommend stream from your personal site. Event type, in person, online. This used to be just only in person, but that's changed dramatically. So there's the online event and select event format. You can see here, this is where you'll have the LinkedIn Live, and you can see if you have. Obviously, I have it, and then you can have an external link. If you don't have live, you can still use LinkedIn events. Maybe your external link is a Zoom link, but this is where you choose the event format, event name, obviously time zone, start, end date, description. And what's important here is when you're setting up the event is to make sure that the event name is key. You want to grab somebody's attention. It's often like an email subject line. You want to pull somebody in. So event name, make it catchy because it's one of the first things that people are going to see when you invite them to an event. They're going to see that event name. And if it's not a catchy name or it's too long, yeah, it just, you've got to put some thought into that event name. And what I'll do a lot of times is make it exactly about, my event, but in a catchy way. And, uh, just put some science behind that event name. Also, the summary description, you've got a lot of space there, 5,000 characters. You want to, as much as you can, tell a story there about the event, the value you're going to be providing, and pull them in there, hook them with that description. Again, very similar to an email, hook them. You want people to be interested in this. And so you want spacing there, paragraphs, hook them, storyline, and the value they're going to be getting from attending this event. So really put some thought into this. But this is where you create your LinkedIn event. Now, I'll tell you this, when you have Restream, you go in and you create the event in Restream, and it will automatically create the LinkedIn event. You don't have to do it on LinkedIn. This is fairly new that this integration happens. So what I typically do is create the event on Restream, and it'll already create the event simultaneously on LinkedIn. I don't have to do it twice. And but this is how you do the LinkedIn event. So now let me stop sharing this, and I want to get over to Restream and show you that. Okay, so now you've created the LinkedIn event. I mean, now you've seen how to create the LinkedIn event. So let's go to Restream. Let me see here. Okay, I'm going to show you this slide here. Okay, here's what I want to show you. So process is you have your show, you pick a date you want to do it, and now you go into Restream and you create the event. And so when you create an event in Restream, it's going to ask you for a thumbnail. And you want to make sure you create a thumbnail in there and size it for YouTube. And you can do that in Canva. So go to Canva. This is what we do, and create a thumbnail, because when you put it into Restream, when you market this event, and then it creates a LinkedIn event, and it's going up on YouTube, because you could connect your YouTube account, Facebook, LinkedIn to Restream. It'll broadcast to all those sites. When you do this, it's going to automatically use that thumbnail, and it's going to populate it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. So you want to customize that thumbnail, and that thumbnail, always make sure that that's eye popping. Think of it as a billboard you're driving down the freeway where, there's a lot of thought that goes into those billboards to get people to see them. And it tells you what it's about. There's colors on there and the fonts pop and they draw you in. Think of your thumbnails always in that same manner, because that thumbnail is going to show up on the LinkedIn event, as I said, YouTube, and everywhere this event's streaming. So you'll create that event in Restream, and then here's what Restream looks like. Is if you click on the event tab on the side, now you'll see the events, and you'll see here that when you set up the event in Restream, you have some choices. You can set it up as a Zoom streaming event, which is what we're doing in this case. So you'll choose to set up the event in Restream as a Zoom streaming event. And when you do that, it saves it like this. So let's look at the LinkedIn tagging strategy event, for example. That event's been set up. You can see down here the accounts that we're streaming to: YouTube, LinkedIn, and a Facebook group. And it'll have this RTMP settings. So this is important. What you're going to do is you're going to click on that icon there once the event's set up in Restream, and this is what shows up: the RTMP URL and the stream key. So you'll need to copy these into Zoom. So what you'll do is when you click on the squares here, this will automatically copy this RTMP URL. So now what will happen is you will have created your Zoom either webinar or meeting. You can stream both of those in Zoom. And for this example, this is a meeting I said. So let's say you're doing a meeting, you're going to stream that. Now what happens is we all know how to set up a meeting in Zoom. So here's a meeting, a test meeting I have in Zoom. And when you scroll down, you open the meeting, and this is how you set up before the event goes live. You open the meeting in Zoom, you scroll down, and you'll get to this section here. And this is where you'll see registration, email settings, branding. You probably have seen this. And there's a live streaming tab here. This is what shows up under the live streaming tab. And you want to click on configure custom streaming service. And when you do that, this is what shows up. And so now you're going to enter the stream URL in here. And remember, that's this right here. So you've copied this and you're going to paste it. Here's something that I don't know why they haven't fixed this, but it's just one of those things. You've always got to add another / after live. So your URL's always going to be like this, but you've got to add a /. It doesn't automatically do it here in Zoom. So you'll copy the link, but then you add that / on the end always. It's just something you've got to manually do it. You've got to remember how to do that. And believe me, I've watched many, many YouTube videos, been on support with Zoom to figure all this stuff out, and it's the way you got to do it. So now you're going to copy the stream key in here. You saw that stream key here, to copy it in here. Now, the live streaming page URL, this is very important. What you want to do is go over to your LinkedIn event, pull that up in your LinkedIn profile, and there will be the URL in the search bar. So copy that URL to that LinkedIn event, and you're going to paste it in here, and then you're going to save it. and uh, and you're going to save it. And now your Zoom meeting is set up to stream to your LinkedIn event, and your Restream's all set up. So now you've got it all dialed in. When you go live, so now the event, you're ready to go. Now you go to Zoom, just like you would normally, and you start your Zoom meeting. And it's gonna, and when you do that, you start the meeting. At the bottom of the page on Zoom, we've all seen this, there's a more button. So you want to click on the more button. And so you've started the meeting or the webinar. Now you click on more, and you click on live on custom live streaming service with this drop down menu. And when you do that, it's going to take just a few seconds for Zoom to connect with Restream, and then Restream is going to broadcast this Zoom meeting to whatever you have connected in Restream: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. So now you are streaming on all those platforms. And on LinkedIn, it's very interesting. The way this happens is when you stream, it's streaming in two places on LinkedIn. Your personal profile, your banner on your personal profile will flip to the live show. So anybody that shows up on your personal profile, they're going to see your banner is playing your live Zoom event. Very cool. Where it also is happening is in the LinkedIn event portal. It's a separate portal. This is where the event set up. You're inviting people to the LinkedIn event, and they're watching it there. So they'll get an alert. You're live. People will go there, and that banner in the LinkedIn event portal also flips to your live show. So it's playing there, and it's live on YouTube, and it's live on Facebook all at the same time. Very, very cool. And so this is the technical part of how you set up the Zoom, and you don't need to record the Zoom. What you always want to do is repurpose this stuff, but what will happen is when you're done with the event, it is automatically going to be posted on YouTube. So the video will be there on YouTube, on your channel forever. You don't have to upload it to YouTube. Very cool. It'll be on Facebook. It'll also show up in your news feed on LinkedIn as a previously recorded event. So it's there and lives on forever. And then also in the LinkedIn event portal, it'll stay up there until you delete the event out of there. You don't have to, it'll stay up there. So for repurposing and retargeting your hot prospects, it's great. You have the recorded video in many different places. You don't need to record Zoom. And so very cool. It's out there. Now, I want to talk about the marketing. So now I've showed you how to set this up, set up Restream, set up Zoom, have your show ready to go, and you're doing your show. The way you market this event is one is when you set up the LinkedIn event. Let me just get rid of the stop sharing here. When you set up the LinkedIn event, you can invite your first level connections through the LinkedIn event feature. So this is where you really go to town on inviting the people you want to invite. You can target it. And there's some search functionality in the LinkedIn event portal. So you're inviting people that way. It pulls them into the LinkedIn event portal, and you have a captive audience. They're watching it there, and you can engage with them before, during, and after the event. So you want to do that so that you market it that way. If you have an email nurture process as part of your business, which is, we all need that. It's one of the 5 foundational tools that I preach about constantly. Then you're sending out emails ahead of time, and you're alerting people that you have this great live show coming up. So emails are going out to your community, and you have, that's number 2. Then number 3 is we have direct LinkedIn direct message campaigns that we automate and scale to connections that go out also to first level connections. So we're DMing our first level connections on, hey, we've got this great live event. So we market it those three ways, and through strategic tagging, because when you set up this event through Restream, it becomes a post in your news feed on LinkedIn, and you can tag prospects on that post about your event. So there's some key things to do to market this event, and you pull people in. So now you have the event. Now the event goes out there, and as I said, it shows up in all these places automatically. But also now, what is a great best practice is for everybody that expressed interest in your event, because there's going to be people pulled into your LinkedIn event, and you know they may not actually show up for the Zoom. It's what happens to all of us. But everybody that expresses interest is going to get a video of the event afterwards. So you send a thank you out, and that could be a DM, it could be a little video. You said, hey, thanks for your interest. Here's the recording of the event. It was great. And you send that out, and you can have a call to action in there. Hey, I'd love to get on a phone call with you, especially to prospects. So you're sending that out to everybody. And on Zoom too, one of the reasons people use Zoom to live stream to LinkedIn, they want to collect email addresses. So you can market it up front for people to register on Zoom so they can watch it on Zoom. So LinkedIn events, people can watch it there. You're inviting within the LinkedIn ecosystem. If you're sending out an email to your community about the event, you can have them register on Zoom, or you can have others register on Zoom. You can see who registers there. They can watch it on Zoom. There is that channel too, to get people to register on Zoom to watch the event. So they can watch it on Zoom, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. So uh, just a lot with this channel. I know it sounds like a fire hose of information, but when you nail this down and get it efficient, and you consistently put your show out there on and on, then it just builds authority, allows you to engage with your audience, and you just see the results of this when you do this consistently and get this content in front of the people you want to see it. So I want to mention too that I briefly mentioned the 5 foundational tools every business has got to have. If you text Giant Help to that phone number, so you do that, follow that on the screen there, which is right here, if I'm pointing to it correctly. Do that, you will see what these 5 foundational tools are. You got to have them. If you don't have these tools, then you're just not even in the game. I will show you what those are. You can check those out. So text Giant Help to that phone number to see what that's all about. And I do a deep dive there. And yeah, I just see so many businesses, and just over the last 12 months, I've seen so many businesses, people just don't have the 5 tools in there. And I talk about email, nurture campaigns, the marketing, the selling, uh, the elevated personal brand. Got to have that huge important piece. And then these virtual events, and uh, and then uh, the email marketing. I think I mentioned that one, but check that out. And as always, love having you here. I remember I do this every Tuesday for this show, and 9 a.m. California time, focused on you and helping you in some way to grow and nurture your business. See you next time.